Hi Rowena, we are back with another BTS, but this time we are not talking about our program from vision to voice because we have completed that cohort, that program. So this time we have come up with something, I guess, even more fun. That was fun, but this will be short and fun because it's end of the year, and I just wanted to say this right before I ask you the question of what prompted us to come up with this. I want to hear your story and then I will add to it. But I think that sometimes the best ideas are the ones that just come as they are, through discussions, through brainstorming, and that's what we came up with when we were brainstorming. Actually, when we were doing our debrief for our last program. So Rowena, let us all know what prompted this. What was that idea that came of the brainstorm?
Hi, Krista. Good chatting again. Look, pretty much the idea behind your year by design, it was you who kind of raised this idea with me. And I thought that sounds like a great idea. To be completely honest, it's also a little bit terrifying. As you come to the year end, it's a chance to reflect on the year that has gone by. And although you kind of remember most of the things that have happened, you also don't really remember everything. So you kind of need to go back in time and look at your notes or your files, right? And you, as you do this, you'll come to grips with the things that you did successfully, and then, oh, that didn't go so well, or that fell through, or whatever. And it's with all of this in mind that you start making your plans for the new year, which, of course, to be perfectly honest, you have great ideas and you have ambition and you have excitement, but you also have real life and you know what happens. And so you want to temper your enthusiasm, but at the same time, not too much till you cut into your dreams, right? So when you said that we should do something like this and, open it up, it seemed like a great idea because I think this is in your nature to do this sort of reflection and planning for the year, and it's definitely mine. And so it felt like a good thing. And what I love about this is, hey, I don't have to do this alone. We have company, and that is one of the best things about doing this activity with other people is that you get to brainstorm. You get to have a bit of feedback. And I think one of the dangers of working by yourself or just being in your own mind about your achievements, your challenges, is that without that feedback, sometimes we can limit ourselves. We can also be sort of thinking too grandly. And so it's really good to have feedback from people around you because we may have certain ideas, but being able to talk to others about these ideas, those discussions, that brainstorming, it's like a free for all. Depending on who you talk to and the size of the group, they can really be a very rich environment to generate new ideas. I just look to us and our weekly conversations. We come in with a plan to talk about X, Y, or Z, and through that, new ideas pop up, and we have this parking lot full of, this parking lot is our document, is full of all the ideas that we can't action off just yet because, we have to have a plan. And I look at that and I said, that's just two of us. And what if we had a room full of people? How many more ideas could, come up? There's all that cross-pollination. So very excited about the possibility of running this on a larger scale.
I
But
like
tell
how
us
you.
about your idea. Like, how did
Okay.
you come up with this?
I mean, like you, every year I will do my year in review. And I will sit by myself and I will just open up a Google Doc. And I have a list of questions that I ask myself every single year. And through that, I find that it is a very good exercise because mentally you can put everything down on paper. Or if you're writing, you can just put it on paper, which sometimes I like writing, but sometimes I'm better and faster at typing, so I like to type my answers. But what helps me is that at the end of every year, I look back at the document that I filled the year before. And I love doing that because it shows me whether it's the progress or not so much of progress sometimes, but also my thoughts at, the end of last year. What were my thoughts like about this thing that I'm, going into the year with? So I feel that way of looking at myself gives me a chance to see, oh, I think my thoughts are maturing. I think I was a little bit maybe over enthusiastic about this specific project when I listed it down and I wanted to do this or write about this. But then 365 days have passed, 12 months have passed. I feel differently about it. And it's also okay because sometimes you just have to understand that sometimes some things happen and you can't get to that specific goal that you wanted to make real for yourself. So I like that process. But when you mentioned that you do it yourself, you do it too, and you enjoy that process as well, right? So because you can't be doing it if you don't enjoy the process. So you enjoy the process, and then you felt that I think it was you that you said that shall we do it together? I think there was something that you asked, right? That you asked me like, do we want to do it together or something? I
I can't
remember that.
remember.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
thought you said like, yeah,
maybe.
shall we do it together? And then I said, yeah, I mean, I don't mind doing it together because there'll be a different way of looking at what I want to do now because now I'm doing it together with you. And already that made me feel that, so there could be someone like I could bounce ideas off. Like I'm thinking of writing a book next year. What do you think? So that could be a very good way instead of just writing it, but just sharing the idea with someone. And like you said, right, sometimes when you share an idea with someone, it becomes more real. You haven't done it yet, but it also makes you accountable because it's now more real and it's out there. You've released the idea into the big world and you don't know where that idea, whether it will materialize or not is another thing, but you've already spoken about it. And there's a power in words. When we speak about certain things, sooner or later, some things would happen. People will cross our paths, ideas will pop out from emails or clients, and then somehow or other will be pushed along on that part. And I realized that for myself. That has happened to me a number of times. The moment I say it out loud, something happens. Like the universe decides to, well, you said it. Now it's time to put it into action. And that is what's been happening in my life. I don't know. Is that something that happened to you
I,
as well?
Absolutely, absolutely. So this is something that I've known for some time, and I've also seen in my own experience, which is that when you get really clear about what it is that you want, and clear means, get down to a certain level of detail. And typically, if it's stuff that you really care about, you're really excited about, you're a bit nervous because, what if I actually get that? Or sometimes you feel you're not ready. Like when I recently got my Cert 4 in training and assessment, one of the things I kind of put out there into the universe was I'm ready to do a lot more training because I had an idea that I want to do. I want to start designing and developing. I've been wanting to design and develop my own programs for a long time, but I held back. And then after I got the Cert 4, I said, I'm ready to do a lot more training to get myself into that headspace. And I kid you not, once I did that, I kind of put that message out there, just opening myself up to those experiences. It all started coming in. And I've seen this happen a couple of times, enough for me to know it's the power of that clarity of what you want to do, what you want to achieve, what outcomes you want. If you know what that is, you start noticing things that support you. You start noticing the job titles, the advertisements. You start, when you meet somebody and you know more about who they are, you start thinking, hey, maybe this person would know this person, or maybe we could have a chat about something based on your experience. You just start seeing those connections come in which you hadn't before.
So, and that is where I believe in that strongly. And I feel that the more clarity you have with what you want to do, the easier it is for the universe to come back to you and say, here's some people that you may want to check out or look at, or even some random LinkedIn contact or connection will come across your path, right? So these are some of the things that I believe very strongly. So I felt that, well, if we're going to do this and we're going to do this together, maybe it'll bring a different perspective from my side because I've been doing it alone, solo, all these years, right? This reflection exercise. And then I was thinking, like, as usual, I was thinking, like, if both of us feel this strongly about this reflection, what about other women who may also enjoy this exercise, but they didn't know that we could do it in a group? I mean, maybe some people do, but maybe some people are a little bit shy to admit that, hey, can I do this with you in a group? Some people feel a little bit embarrassed about opening up sometimes, like I'm a bit shy. I don't want to talk about my dreams too much. What if they, and this is the thing, right? Like, what if they come true? But what if they don't come true? And, both sides, success and failure scare us equally. So most people may
That's
not want
a very
to be,
good point.
right? It's not
Yes.
just about failure. It's like, what if I succeed? Oh my God, then I have to do
Yep.
this, and this. And then
Yep.
my expectations of myself have changed. And
Yes.
do I want to be that new person? Do I want to change to evolve myself to become a better or newer person in a different context? So that changes for a lot of people. But one thing I wanted to mention is why we're doing this. We feel that if we're doing this, both of us, we could do this with other women, and we want to do this with other women for the very idea that where we ran our cohort, our participants said that it was a very good sounding board. And I like that term because you need sounding boards. You call it sounding boards, board of directors. You need people who can brainstorm with you, give you some ideas, give you some new ways of thinking about your idea, or even challenging you, like how we challenge our participants to think about things that they never thought about, to think deeper into a specific issue that they have or problem, and maybe look at that problem from a different angle. And said that is why I feel that having sounding boards in our lives actually is a great way to move forward, because sometimes you can overthink an issue and you never get started. And so that's the reason why. So I think that on all fronts, both of us doing it will be good. But imagine there'll be a room of other women with us. This is a virtual room we're talking about. A virtual room of other women with us that we're doing this, and we feel that maybe some great ideas will come out of this. So that's the main reason why I thought it's a great idea. But then what about the how, Rowena? How are we doing this? I know you mentioned a little bit, you kind of gave a little bit of a hint how we're going to do some brainstorming. Is that right?
Yes. Yes. So, yeah, I suppose if people are thinking about this, they'd be thinking, well, how does that work? So, how it works is we've a plan. This is not meant to be an all-consuming, long, drawn-out, protracted affair. We understand everyone's busy. It's coming up to the end of the year, so we're very mindful of that. We've crafted basically 2 sessions. Each session runs for 90 minutes, and it's not a talk fest. So it's not us coming in there and just blah blah blah. It's a couple of things. So first things, there will be a bit of pre-work. And the purpose of the pre-work is so that you're not having to think fresh from scratch in the workshop. We only have 90 minutes. The goal is you do a little bit of that thinking beforehand, kind of set the scene for yourself, because everyone's coming in with very different goals, different experiences, different journeys. Some people are entrepreneurs, some people are corporate. So this is kind of open to women across all walks of life, whatever they are doing. And I guess it's not necessarily limited to something that you want to do in your career or something you want to do in your business. Maybe the thing that you want to do doesn't quite neatly fit into work or business, but something outside, a bit broader, something a bit left field. Use this opportunity. Okay, so the pre-work is there to kind of set the scene for yourself, and you come into what is a very interactive workshop. There will be opportunity. Krista and I will be sharing some details, some information. But basically, there's a lot of brainstorming. There's a lot of group discussion. There will be time for individual activities where you're doing a bit of reflection and planning, and then you get to come together in a group. 90 minutes goes by really quickly. So the way we've designed it is we kind of park the first session to be all about the year that was. I can't believe I'm saying this. The year that was. And then the second session is the year that is to come. So the first session doing a lot of reflection, bit of celebration about all the wins, all the things that you spend some time reflecting on and going, yes, I did that, or, like overcame certain things. And then the second session, that's the exciting bit, like making plans, having a think about, how big you want to get, what you want to do, and then figuring out what those action steps are. So it's very practical, it's very hands-on. And as we mentioned earlier, the beauty of this is you're not alone. Sitting in a quiet room, like a dark corner, there's a bunch of us together, which means feedback, which means brainstorming, which means more ideas generated. And that can mean encouragement, that can mean validation, that can mean support. access to network, a whole bunch of things, which is exciting.
I also wanted to add on that, when people go into a program, they are always thinking of, yeah, what can I gain from the program? But the other aspect I wanted to always mention is what can you contribute to the program? So I think contribution gives us a different way of looking at things, because we say, okay, if I go into this program, what can I gain? Which of course you gain all this, reflection and thinking about yourself, thinking about the work that you want to do, thinking about your future work that you want to do. But it's also about you bringing in your experience, because all of us have different experiences. Even though Rowena, you and I, we are both communicators. We have done communications work for a long time in our careers, in our business. We're also entrepreneurs. We also do work for our clients. You're also a trainer. I'm a trainer. But given that those are just labels, but what we do, our experiences with individual clients, with people that we work with, they're all different. And because of that, because of the experience that we bring, we are able to contribute to the group conversation in a richer way. Because we can then share, hey, have you tried this? Or this is my experience doing this. And I'm able to, do this, I'm able to use this method or this approach to do something. And we don't really always have to go through the traditional ways of doing creating a certain project or launching a book or podcast or whatever. So there could be a lot of idea exchange based on our experiences. And this is where I think I would like to also talk a little bit about, the experiences that each of us bring, that even the both of us, right? I mean, I don't know about the participants, but even the both of us, we bring different experiences. I am involved not only in business, but I'm involved in NGO work. I'm involved in women's advocacy work. I'm involved in a lot of community work out there. So we can bring those experiences into this session and share what worked or what we recommend. I mean, it doesn't have to be something like, oh, I have nothing to offer. So I encourage anyone who's thinking of joining this program to come in and say, you have something to offer. You come in with your set of experiences that you can perhaps help and share it out there so that another woman may benefit from it. And I think this is what I always like about co-creating programs with other people, is that we believe we're all peers. We each come with our knowledge. We each come with our experience. And that is why I also believe this program is not just for people in business or women in business or women in a career, but it's also for homemakers. For instance, if there's a homemaker out there who thinks that I'm not in business, I'm not in a career right now, I'm just taking care of my kids at home. What do I have to look forward to, right? I mean, except taking care of my kids next year and all that. But there could be specific community goals that you may want to try or have a hand in. So those are also goals. So don't let this scare you by saying, oh, it has to be a professional goal, or it has to be a big, huge career milestone. It doesn't have to be. It could just be, I want to set up a community garden. That could be a project.
Yeah, of course. Why not? I think that's really great. It's very inclusive. And it's actually reflective of what is the case. It's not just about what you can gain from everyone else. Everyone will bring something as well. So that's powerful, because then they feel like they are contributing, which is great.
And I like the fact that everyone contributes, because when you're contributing, you feel empowered. It's not just one-way listening. It's not just like, oh, I'm listening to these two women talking about their experiences. No, we want you to come and share your experiences. And I understand this, that by sharing, you start to open up, your ideas start to blossom, you get to become, a little bit more aware that you can do this. Maybe the awareness has to start somewhere. But if you're by yourself, I don't think you're going to be very much aware until someone says, hey, that's a brilliant idea. That's something you should try. Go ahead and do it. I mean, or sometimes all we need is someone to encourage and say, go ahead, just try. Just take that one first step and then you can do it, right? So that's what I wanted to just mention, that bring your experiences, come not only to gain, but to contribute. So this also brings us to this point, right? So all these things that we are doing for this particular program, Your Year by Design, how does it fit into visibility? How does visibility even come into the equation?
Wow, that's a really good question. The way I look at it, you do the work to kind of figure out the year that's been. You have all these plans, but then now you need to bring these plans to life. And bringing it to life obviously will require you to build your visibility, so that you can be understood, so that you can be supported, so that you can, whatever things you want to do, you'll have to convince people, you'll have to get them, you'll want to influence them to take certain actions, to do certain things. And so visibility is definitely a key part of it, because without it, you can't make those plans happen. So to me, they seem very connected. With the right amount of visibility for yourself, for the work that you do, for the path that you've taken, for the path that you're going on, you're then better understood. So I see that building your visibility, your credibility, your reputation along the way is a key part of what you need to do in order to make your dreams happen. You've got to support yourself through that process, and that's on you. And also keeping in mind that nobody has really been on your journey, your career journey, been through those experiences. Everyone's got very unique. Even you have two engineers side by side, they will have very different experiences. So the thing to keep in mind with that is our journeys are so unique to us, and we really are the best people to talk about those experiences and the significance of those experiences. We really are the best to know how to build that visibility for ourselves.
And I think at the heart of visibility is actually our need to influence, right? I mean, I think you mentioned that, because if you have a idea and you want it to be put into action, sometimes you need to influence other people to see your point of view. And if you are not able to create a visibility for yourself, how would you be able to influence other people? How would you share that point, like, I have a great idea, but hey, no one's listening to my idea? Because there's no way for your idea to really become something tangible if no one believes in it, no one knows what it's all about, and you say, I'm too scared to share with the world. But by hanging on to the idea and keeping it under wraps, you're not influencing anybody. And if you don't influence anyone, you have no way of having other people come along to help you with that idea. So imagine this, right? If both of us met each other and I say, I want to start a visibility program, but I'm not going to share with Rowena because I'm just so scared. Like, what would she think of me? What would she think? Like, this is crazy, right? How will we do it across the time zones, right? Malaysia time zone and Australian time zone, across the different things that we are doing. How will we do it if I didn't share the idea with you? And then we say, we should do something together. We should really do something together. And that was the spark that made us create our program from vision to voice. And that is something which I did. If I didn't influence you in a way and share with you the idea, none of this would have happened. We wouldn't be doing a BTS. We wouldn't be doing a BTS about another program. We wouldn't be doing anything.
Yeah,
and that's
of course
the thing that I want people to understand, that if you want your ideas to really become tangible programs, tangible books, tangible whatever, right? You need to be able to go out there and share them. But first, you have to have an idea what it is that you want to share. Because if you have no idea what you want to share, that's where a lot of people scramble to share all kinds of things on social media. And this is what I call not being really strategic, because you can share everything. But then again, people may not know exactly what it is that you stand for in terms of maybe a program or a product or a service. So people don't understand it because it's all just so mixed up with a lot of things. So I think that is the power of influencing people. Like when you want to influence people so that your idea gets seen, your idea gets talked about, your idea gets legs, and they can grow into something bigger.
Yes, that's very well put. So touching on that point and touching on visibility, a lot of the time people are afraid of visibility, afraid of, putting themselves out there, or they're really unsure what it means, or they have a very limited view of visibility. So just a reminder that when you're thinking about visibility, it's not just about popping up and talking about your achievements or talking about yourself and feeling uncomfortable. visibility here that we're talking about is about making sure you're understood. You have things that you want to achieve, whether it's in your career, a new role that you're after, or to be seen for certain projects or tasks that you want to take on, or maybe a business that you're running that you want to grow. You have things you want to achieve. And that's what you want to get out there. Those things that you are working on, those things that you're working to make known, those problems that you're looking to solve. Not visibility just for the sake of visibility to be seen and to be known in that way. It's actually connected to the work that you're doing, whatever that work is. Now, if you're unsure of the work that you're doing or you're pivoting, then figuring those bits out can then help you with, figuring out how to be visible. But visibility is key and really important in all aspects of our life because sometimes the ideas are great and they're powerful and super clear, and you can get the buy-in on the idea, but often the idea is connected to the individual. It's very easy to come up with ideas, it's execution, right? But when the idea is connected to the individual and the individual is known, or the individual has some sort of influence in the market, their local community, then it's like, I'm in, because they're connected with the person, not necessarily the idea. They believe in what the person does. They have that history with that person and they go, I'm in. And so that's what you want. You want to be seen, you want to be known, you want to be heard. And that's what we're talking about when we talk about visibility. And so this is a key part to any work that you want to do in visibility. You've got to start with the plan. And part of the plan involves the reflection on what has happened so that you can move from A to B.
Yeah, that's a great point. And I also wanted, as you were speaking, I also wanted to say there's another group that we really think is suitable for this, is for women who are pivoting. Sometimes women who are pivoting, they have no idea what they want to do. Like right now, I'm transitioning out of a job, into a business. And also, I have no idea. So if you're a woman who's pivoting, doesn't matter where you're pivoting from or pivoting to, come and join us, because I think this is where the clarity is the most important thing. Even before you get started on any project next year, you need to have clarity on really who you are, because you can't work on something that's not who you are, right? And I think this is something that we keep going back over and over again, is that you can't do something that you're in conflict with yourself. Like you don't like it, but you have to do it. And that's not the way you want to start your year. So you want to start your year by knowing that this is what I want to do, this is what I'm happy to do, and this is where I know that this is my goal, or this is something that I want to achieve for the next year. And everything is in alignment. So if you're in alignment, your whatever you want to say out there or influence other people becomes clearer. Because the moment you go out there and talk about your idea, people ask you, so how does it work? What's it all about? And if you have not thought about those things, it becomes really difficult for people to understand exactly what is she doing, because she has not made it very clear at all to herself. And so that is where we're trying to help you make it clearer to yourself, so that when you go out there and talk about your ideas, it becomes clearer to other people as well. Okay, so Rowena, we have a couple of minutes left, so let's talk a little bit about why us.
Why us? Okay, well, I guess for me, I'll speak for me and you will speak for you, obviously. I've worked with women for many years through the various activities I've been doing, such as running the Thrive meetups. I have a soft spot and I want to make sure that I can support women in all of their endeavors, right? Whether it's in career or business. And I've been doing this for a long time. I'm a planner and a doer. I don't just focus on the planning. I like to execute and not afraid of failing along the way and learning through that process. And I think that can scare people sometimes, We're terrified of taking that first step because you don't know what's going to happen. But sometimes you just need to jump in and see how it goes, but be willing to be agile and be flexible. So I think that, because my career journey and the fact that I've done things in a number of different areas, I think I bring a certain perspective, and more than anything, I'm open and interested and wanting to create a community around us that thrives. And so you'll see that the work that we're doing through this Your Year by Design, and this sprint that we're doing, and the program that we've run in September, From Vision to Voice, is all about supporting women to thrive in whatever things that they're working on, whether in their careers or business. So, and that's also partly why we created this BTS series. It just gives you, I mean, if you take the time to watch some, if not all of these episodes, it gives you some insight into how we do things. It gives you some insight into our background. And I guess it's a kind of taster of what is to come. So we're not asking you to just, on a whim. All of these things are done for a reason, to better support the work that we're doing and hopefully give you confidence that, we can be walking with you on this journey. And Krista.
So I think even back when I was in university, I've always been doing women's advocacy work. I once worked for a professor who was really researching women and women's empowerment issues. And that was, well, partly was for the pocket money because I was helping her and, I had an allowance. But really, I enjoyed all this work, research and studies about women. I think that is something that I've really enjoyed doing. And so I've done it ever since I graduated and, working and in business. But I think one of the things that people always ask me, like, how do you do all these different things in your life? Because like I mentioned, I have done NGO work, I've been on boards, I'm running my own business. And then of course, on top of that, I met a friend the other day who said, oh my God, you have a podcast and your podcast is still going on. And I said, yes. And she's like, where do you find the time? And I always want to tell people that, you will find the time if it is priority one. If you know where you're going with that project or with that goal that you want to accomplish, right? A lot of things can be very difficult if you don't understand. I guess in a way I'm trying to say is, if you don't understand yourself, you don't understand what you want to do and where you want to go, it's very easy to get sidetracked by a lot of different things that come your way. And that is why I always believe that if you're at a certain age, you must understand what you want to accomplish and achieve for yourself. So for me, I know my priority 1, priority 2, and 3. And if it's priority 1, that takes or gets my attention first thing in the day, right? And after that, it'll be other things. But everything that I do, I try to make them work together or play well together so that it never feels that I'm doing different things. I always feel that there is one common goal I'm trying to achieve. And because of that, I know the different projects that I have all contribute to that bigger goal that I have. So I would like to help women think about themselves that way. Like, you only have this much of time in your day. What can you do with it? And what can you do with it also comes back to what can you do that makes you fulfilled and makes you feel rewarded. So at the end of the year or at the end of 5 years or 3 years or how many years, you want to know, did I do something that was really deeply rewarding for myself? And if I did, great. But if I didn't, then you have a chance to reset, right? You have a chance to reset every single year. So that's why I believe that, given that both of us have the experience of doing this for ourselves, and like you, we're both doers, we like to plan, we like to execute. And that's a different thing. I think a lot of people like to plan, but they hate to do the execution. I think we like both. We like the doing and the execution. And we like going through that process. And so I believe that both of us have what it takes to share with women how we have done it for ourselves and in our businesses and in the roles that we play in society. And perhaps you can take something away with you and help you be more strategic with your life. So I guess that's why work is there are tons of amazing, and I'm saying this because there are tons of amazing women coaches, amazing women facilitators out there. But the reason why you work with us is because you work with us for our own unique capabilities that we bring to this program and to all the programs that we are creating for women. It's us, right? In the end, I always tell my clients, you're buying the person. You think you're buying the service, you think you're buying the product, but actually you're buying the person, because if you don't buy the person, you will not buy the service or the product. So if you like me and Rowena, you like what you've heard so far, you like our honesty. Sometimes it could be quite brutal honesty, right? Sometimes we look at ourselves and say we're not the best at everything, but we know what we can be the best at. And this is what we want to teach people, right? Or teach women, actually, how to be the best at what you want to be. And that's why we came up with this program. Short but sweet.
Yep. Good one.
Yeah. So if you're interested in our program, and if this has made you think, yeah, I want to be the best that I can be, then check out program, Your Year by Design, and sign up, because we have a closing date. Our closing date is the 20th of November, 2025. So we're watching this in 2026. Watch out for the next program again. But it's 20th November 2025. We even have a BFF rate. So if you're coming with your BFF, it'll be even more fun. Last thoughts.
I'm just remembering what you said earlier. You find the time to do the things you want to do. So having listened to all of this, if this is, in your nature, then come join us. If it's not in your nature, but it's giving you something to think about, how you can end your year with intent and make a plan for 2026 that's going to really land well, then yeah, come on in and check it out.
Come on in and check it out. And of course, connect with myself and Rowena on LinkedIn, and reach out if you have any questions. Okay, see you.